Welcome to Raging Fishbowl. I am joined here with Jalen. Welcome into the Fishbowl. Jalen, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, Chief. You had a great holiday.
Yeah, it was a good holiday. We missed you on the last episode, but I know, it's holidays. It's very hard to get someone in, and I'm just glad that the Fishbowl crew was able to enjoy their Christmas and stuff, all that good stuff all together there. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Some big breaking news with, the lunch Winfield and the offensive tackle from Tulane committing to the Raging Cajuns. That is a very good blessing to say the least here. So um yeah, so that it's great. It's great that we're having like these conversations and stuff happening here. We did see like Bill Davis end up committing to Virginia Tech. Alan Perry hasn't done that yet. That I'm at the recording of this podcast here, which is at 6:20 on a Monday. Jace Mitchell, Tulane offensive tackle, committed to the Cajuns. Doesn't look like he had any like playing time last year, but Tulane's built up a really good roster. Like some of these guys are moving, and they came from a CFP team, so very good. I think it's a very good addition for the Cajuns here. I think that one of the Cajuns that I think the running back stuff is okay. I've talked about this before, and the fundamental blocks of an offense defense is your lines. I think the Cajuns either they get defensive line help or offensive line help. It's going to benefit them more in the long run here. It's kind of a question. There were some people wondering if Lunch was going to come back or not. That was kind of like the rumor mill for sure that was running around there that he might be gone this year. But Lunch made it official today with him saying I'm coming back. Um, the Cajuns did lose one of their offensive tackles before the bowl game, so that's kind of old news there. Williams into the portal. So Jalen, like skill position wise, I think the Cajuns are going to be okay, even with the loss of Zylan Perry and stuff. Like I've always said this, a great offensive line can make an average quarterback look great, and sending with receivers. If like that, your main thing as a football organization should be your lines because I don't care how great the quarterback is. The quarterback's a sexy position of college football and just football in general. About like the NFL, they talk about Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Those are like the stars, right? Your stars of your football team and your the face of your
Hmm.
franchise and stuff. So they will get like dressed up and have that kind of thing going on that way. So what you think about these two additions? Not additions, but like retaining lunch and adding through the portal.
Yeah, absolutely. The number one thing I think the Cajuns needed to do this offseason was retain Lunch, especially with the season ending. He could have said, I'm gonna go look at other schools because he got in and was like, hey, I show what I can do and my ability. But I'm proud of the Cajuns and Coach Diaz for getting Lunch to stay right there because he will be the quarterback for the future, as we saw this past season, especially towards the middle of the season. I mean, Lunch is your guy. I mean, he's going to be able to develop as a passer. He already knows what he can do running the ball, and like you said, having great quarterback play with a great offensive line. I think anybody you put there in the backfield can still get the carries you need to get the offense going. And as far as you said with the old lineman from Tulane, I mean, like you said, he might not have got a lot of playing time, but he came from a college football playoff team, which means you go through his practices, you still got to, even though you don't get on the field a lot, you still Coach Summerall still had them in position to where yes, you're going to do this in practice, you're going to develop, and he's going to bring that development right to the Cajuns, right to the offensive line, add depth to their team. So I think it's great for the Cajuns so far. Yeah, we Bill Davis committed to Virginia Tech. You see Dylan Perry looking at other options, but I still think that, especially Stephen Blanco in the backfield, he got a lot of playing time last year. I think the Cajuns will still be great in the offensive side of the ball.
Um, it starts up front. Like I think that's kind of the thing that we all kind of like talk about. This is one big thing that you need to have for your offense to be really good and stuff here. It starts up front, starts with the offensive line. That's kind of a big thing with wherever you're looking at this at here. Because if you have a great offensive line, knocking back, like especially in the Sun Belt. Like, look what Billy was able to do here from 2018 through 2021. He The pedigree was there. Offensive line play. Also, I think we need to look at and touch on. I did see some comments from Bill Davis's daddy on Facebook. Okay, and he mentioned about like to kind of use his words that showcase what you can do at G5 basically to summarize, and then put it out there. So I think that's kind of like how you know how does the Cajuns look to recruit? I think is the question that needs to be answered here. And I think it's kind of an interesting. This is a whole different ball game here. What are these like freshman running backs? You know that are coming in, quarterback, tight end, wide receiver. These freshmen coming in being told this stuff, right? It's the what's the perception of the public, right? Not someone that's a hard nosed fan and stuff like that. Like, what does the casual fan say? Or look, a lot of these kids here, like, I don't blame them for leaving because if you want to make money, like, look, if somebody, like, if you look at people that want to pay you more money to do the same job at different places, you're going to go to the place to make more money. That's just better for that's better for you. That's better for your family and stuff, right? But the thing with college football is it short term growth or is it long term growth? Like, look, you do your 4 years at that school or whatever, you make it to a power four. I'll stay there the rest of the time if you make a jump here. Even if you're on the bench, just get your degree and go work in something else there. I don't think that transfer portal people should be bouncing around. But if you made it to a power four and you was riding the bench because you're whatever reason, like you didn't work out there, you didn't make the field, so we're kind of seeing the same things over and over again with some of these players here. John Calipari kind of touched on it with basketball. What I talked about them last week here with they should get the rules should be they should get one transfer that'd be a free transfer because we're human. We make mistake. We pick the wrong school at times, right? Or that we didn't get discovered. Look at Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss. Everybody wants him now. He's going to go back to Ole Miss now, but you look at it here, he got a chance to show what he can do. Division 2 to SEC. Now, those are going to be diamonds in the rough. You're not going to find too many Division 2 guys make their way up to Power 4 status that everybody misses. But there has been some cases here. You probably won't see that ever happen much where like these small schools are getting these like NFL type players. Like I'm talking like first, second, third round picks, right? First, second round picks here anymore. Because the power four are going to probably end up poaching them from said school to make this kind of level. That's just the way it is nowadays. And it's very tough to see it that kind of way here. I don't think we'll ever see like a Napier developed offensive line like we did 2018 through 2021. I think literally if you want to talk about college football back in the past, you cannot use from 2021 on back anymore because we're living in two different eras of college football. This is way different than you can't like literally when NIL was signed in the summer of 2021 that they can make money and all this stuff happening here. So I was able to watch a documentary on how like the inner workings of how these like smaller schools are navigating NIL and the bigger schools are doing the same thing too. They did an interview with the Matador Club at Texas Tech. They just got a big time. That quarterback, right?
Brandon, was it Sobe?
Yeah.
Sobe?
They got his billboard in Times Square, New York, right now. They put a billboard of him all over Times Square, New York here. So like $4 or $5 million. You look at that there, that he is getting paid. That's what's the rumor right now, that he's getting paid 4 to 5 mil from the Matador Club. But the cap for all these Power Four schools is supposed to be what was signed in the spring of last year was $20.5 million because the schools now could directly pay them. The collectives got absorbed by the schools basically, and now the schools can directly pay them. I have been talking about banning the collectives, which I don't think the school should be paying the players anyway. I think it should just be third party stuff, businesses doing it. But you need to see who's in charge of the businesses here and who's gonna. My thing is who's going to navigate this cap here now. The Matador Club's they've been very vocal. They're aggressive when it comes to NIL. Look at what they did to Texas Tech. Even though they didn't make it deep in the college football playoff, they are still a top 10 team here. Look at what they did
Yep.
to their softball program. Look at all these other programs that they got. Like their men's basketball program is doing really good too right now. It's this is the way it is here. So I think the conference is like the G5 and stuff. You basically have 1 year deals. I don't think there's any more where you're signing a team for 1 year that you can have sustained success here. And these coaches are going to have to figure out how do we keep this thing going here because they're literally like mercenaries. Basically, if you go to war, you just pay them, they go to war. That's basically what we got going on with college football here, and that's the way I would look at it here if I was a coach here because it's harder to recruit nowadays because you have to build retention as well as go get people to lose because you're not going to keep everybody. You're not going to keep everybody satisfied on your staff because our roster you got to keep it. You got coaches that leave to go to other jobs, taking head coaching jobs at other schools, all that. You got to not only know coordinators and stuff, you got to know like contacts and recruiters got to get their deeper relations with recruits and transfer portal candidates and stuff. So, Jalen, what you think?
Yeah, and like we've been talking about, NIL is going to be the biggest thing for years to come. Now, I'll be honest with you. Do I think every team is capping at 20 million? Absolutely not. They're finding ways to get over that without getting in trouble by the NCAA. But that's probably a topic for another for another day. But
Yeah, that was a thing that was talked about. The guy said it openly on this documentary. Like, yeah, we're trying to find ways to go past that cap of 20.5 million. I'm like, and now these are two big oil field guys, the Matador Club and stuff. Like when they talk about like they're billionaires, dude. Like they can just dump money in there. They're trying to find ways to go around this cap. And my question was, who is supposed to like? They never really answered the question who's supposed to regulate all this stuff here because the transfer portal isn't new. It actually was so the transfer portal was created in 2017 by this lady. I'm trying to think of her name because I watched this documentary. It's on ESPN Plus if you want to watch it. It's like an ESPN 30 for 30. Very good, insightful documentary. I think ESPN did a really good job asking question what this lady had implemented in 2017. So when NIL became a thing in 2021, it was the perfect storm. They were just waiting on it because one, the transfer portal was made to make it easier to transfer, which it did. It did what it was originally intended to do. It isn't complete. It is not her fault at all because it just created the avenue for all this stuff to work out. So, like all they had to do was like you sign your name, uh, you put your crest, and you just jump into the portal. But a lot of these people that jump in the portal, they never get out of it. And I think that's not talked about enough. They have like 4,000 something players in the portal as we speak right now. Um, yes, Jason. Yep, yep. Dwayne Lunch is coming back. He announced back on our Facebook and our Facebook page we have it. Let me pull it up for you real quick so you can see his graphic that he made. So Lunch is confirmed to have come back for this season here. So let's see here. Let me go move this over here. Let me go. Actually, let me pull it up on Facebook real quick so I can get it there. Yeah, Lunch is coming back here, so he should be the starting quarterback now. I'm wondering if Walker Howard's going to come back for next year. That is something that hasn't been announced yet. I haven't seen anything where he is coming back here. Okay. Also, if you're just joining us, former Tulane offensive tackle Jace Mitchell of Destran has committed to the Cajuns as well today. That was announced about an hour ago. I need to get back on X to kind of see what's going on there because I don't have it pulled up right now. So let's pull this up here real quick. Uh, let's see here. I'm gonna pull this here. Let me just try to get this up real quick here. So yeah, let's see. Share screen. Pull Facebook up, and we'll hit share here. I don't know if you see it here. But yeah,
there we go. There we go.
So yeah, look, this is his graphic that he posted. Uh, Does that say lunch? Yeah, it does say Lunchables in the back. That's awesome. That's like the I never noticed that until like I was looking at it. That is cool. Right there, Lunchables. That is so awesome. Yeah, like whenever they put him in that Marshall game, that was so good to go see him actually perform like he did there. That was an amazing performance that he put on there. You
It changed
know,
the season.
yeah, he did. He definitely changed the season for sure. And I think the Cajuns would have won a couple of more games if Lunch would have been starting like in place of Daniel Bill. Like I think the Eastern Michigan game would have been won by the Cajuns. I do think that would have went their way. That was a lot of back and forth. That was right before the Marshall game actually. Um, they probably would have won two more games at least up to that point there. So yeah, that is something else to actually look at here. I know, like on the hardwood side of things, the Cajuns haven't have been having the best of seasons here. Like the women lost a lot of people from last year's team, which didn't. I mean, they finished middle of the pack in the Sun Belt here, but losing that much like experience really makes it a big thing for the Cajuns last year. Ugh. Yep. So that is a thing here. So if you look at it here, looking ahead here, let me go pull up. I need to pull up X to kind of like see if there's anything else that I might have missed since we've been live, Jalen. But Jalen, talk about positions of need. Where you think the Cajuns need to go in the portal to? Okay, I just see something else. Uh, where you think they need to go, Jalen, in the portal to improve?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so well. The first position I think it talks about right there, the running back position. I think when you lose a two-headed monster in Bill Davis and Zylan Perry, I think you got to go to the transfer portal or even some freshmen trying to get out there to replace those two guys. I mean, I like we talked earlier, offensive line, you get those guys, and you can make a great running back duo as we've seen over the years. But you got to start by getting the guys in there. And then secondly, I think the offensive line. I think the Cajuns have some guys that's returning that played meaningful snaps last season. But the one thing about the offensive line, you need depth. And I think the Cajuns need more of that, more people that's transferring. And that's just going to bulk up the offensive line. Then I want to say the defensive line too, because I know you saw Fitzgerald West. He is in the transfer portal
Yeah, he
also.
is. I saw that, but I also got some more breaking news, Jalen.
Oh, what is it? Let's hear it.
So Charles Robertson, the wide receiver for the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, has announced he'll enter the transfer portal. The redshirt junior had 15 catches for 250 yards and a touchdown in 2025 as well.
Oh man.
So yeah, but this is the way it is nowadays. I mean, like you just got to really try to work at retaining these guys here. These agents are, you know,
They're
they
working.
yeah, like they're putting these guys out there and they're getting it out there. So we can complain about the money thing all we want, but you just got to find a way to adapt here. I think the Cajuns could do some very good. I see Tyrone Lewis Jr. even making some. What he's a current player, but he's not going to be able to play next year because he's going to graduate as a Cajun. I know he got suspended with that Marshall fight earlier this year. Yeah, and he tagged. So he's trying to get two people to join a defensive tackle, Joseph. I can't say his last name. I'll share it if you could say it, Jalen, because I know you're better at pronouncing names than I am. I am so bad when it comes to names. I don't want to try to butcher anybody's name here. I'll let Jalen do it here. I think it's Olajari. Olo this one right here. That's Tyrone Lewis right there. I
Ooh.
think is that Hardy? That is Hardy. Yeah, it's Harding. Yeah, Harding. Okay. Yeah, there it is, right there. That's who looks like the kid. Yeah, he's in the transfer portal.
I want to say Olawami, but I don't want to.
Oh,
Sorry if I mispronounced the name.
yeah. But yeah, he's getting some offers like UTEP. I know. Yeah, Tyrone was Eastern Michigan defensive tackle. That's one of the positions we talked about. Jalen, defensive tackle, offensive
Yeah,
lineman.
defensive tackle, definitely.
Uh,
Because you got
that
guys that graduated, and like you said, some in the portal also. So defensive tackle,
New
both
Mexico State.
positions.
Bryant, yeah, that's another one. Um, I really don't know. It just kind of like there's so many like guys that you can just look at and kind of see what's gonna happen here. So um,
They got some work to do, especially
yeah,
with that young secondary too that's coming. That some of them guys are
yeah.
coming back.
Uh, Gordon looks like hopefully he stays here. There's the post by Charles Robertson.
So
We're gonna have
Gordon played phenomenal.
yeah, he played great as a freshman. Uh, Rancine Guillory committed for the Tigers. That was 5 hours ago. Uh, you see, this is all LSU stuff right here. Um, just trying to see what's going on in our feed right here. You see, the kicker entered the portal. Who would have thought kickers, man? Hey, they got to get their bang for their buck too, man. Let's see. See the trying to find some
Hey, them kickers say they're important too. I
the
know you saw
kickers were trying to.
I know you saw
Oh
that
yeah,
Pittsburgh
they
Baltimore
remind,
ending.
they remind me of Raging Fishbowl. We do have a separate Facebook page that is completely dedicated to Raging Cajun sports. So if you don't like, there's some people we know like in the Raging Cajun fan base that don't like LSU. So that page was made for them as well. We are planning on making an LSU one, but I am in the process of trying to iron out the details of it as well because it's gonna be a little bit different here. Yeah, there's Pete Thamel. Yeah, that's the Jaden Mitchell one. Yeah, he's the first commitment of the transfer portal cycle, so that's gonna be something there. Man, like crazy to even look at here. So we'll see what happens with everybody here. So yeah, just looking at this live here, just trying to see what's going on there. Uh, we'll see. You know, he just entered the portal, so that's kind of what we got going on here. Charles Robertson is the latest one to enter the portal. That was 48 minutes ago. Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KTC was the first one to actually. There is Blanco staying. I don't know. I wish I had the answer for that, Jason, but I do not know.
I mean, I know I mentioned him earlier, and I think
But
he
as
would definitely could be a
he
starter.
to me, if I was in his shoes, I would stay
Yeah, I
because
would too.
he was the third string back. He was the third string back last year. If I'm not trying to be like a homer and be like you need to do this and like listen, I'm not trying to say that. You like so if we're talking about how the public perception of the Cajuns is going to be, should we use it as like a training ground for these other, you know, for these other players coming up, like these freshmen and these like this is the like FCS Division 2, like we can maybe find more of these Trinidad Chambliss out there and try to find that and work that way there. Because if that works out that way, you will build your program up very much so here. Because not everybody at P4 is gonna recruit is gonna work out. That's just the way it is. Because we see it all the time here. Um, we Sheldon Sampson was a really good ad this year, even though he was injured with his hand first couple of games. But that wasn't really reported too much. That was really swept under the rug. So like
Yeah,
that's why I say whenever we start talking about coaches on the show, I know everybody's but well, Coach Des said this. They're politicians. They lie to you, okay? It's coach talk. That's all it is. Like I would not, like because they don't want to show their hand. I don't blame them. Like if they're in there and they're trying to do their thing, whatever else here, they don't want to show their hand here. So or there's times whenever you see coaches getting upset with like media people and stuff like that. That's typically because they're like they got struck a nerve because there's pressure mounting from the outside or inside that building. Like examples of it, the last two that I remember we covered here on the show: Brian Kelly at LSU and Bob Marlin last year when they both had their blowouts on their media their media press conferences that they have. You got to keep a cooler head as a coach. And it's a tough position because they're getting paid a lot of money to coach these teams, and the fans want answers. So you got to be able to answer it very well. So
and you
let's
gotta watch how you answer it.
yeah, because it can get very much twisted, very much so here. So we're gonna bring us back on cam. You get to go look at our pretty faces again here, but. Aside from Jalen, because Jalen needs to put his profile picture on his thing. Bear's gonna jump on you. Bear's gonna jump on you, Jalen,
Man, I'm about to work on that because I can't have Bear jumping on me.
because Bear gonna mess you up, bro.
Man, I'm telling you, you know how he gets.
Yeah, he's always giving Juicy a hard time. Hey, Bear, if you're watching this, I don't know if Bear's watching this or not, but we love you, Bear. I got to do a show with Bear tomorrow. Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, we're gonna be talking about LSU sports.
Hey, you still with us?
Oh, there,
Oh,
there I
there
am.
he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
So yeah, sorry about that. So I do. Here's my internet provider that I have out here. I'm out here in the boonies. Jalen knows where I'm at. I don't want to say where I live, but I'm in rural area here. So I do have Starlink, which is the best internet that you could possibly get where I'm at. There's no one that's better than that here. So times it'll drop me for like 30 seconds, but like if I'm playing video or whatever, or there's a bunch of people going on in the house and stuff, which that could potentially happen there. So look, I think it's doing very well here. We don't really have as much. I remember the images used to be kind of blurry. We used to do a show on that old AT&T internet we used to have over here, but we've upgraded, so that's always a good thing there. Anyway, let's talk about the hardwood, Jalen.
Yeah,
I
let's
know
do it.
it's not a very good topic to talk about too much here. I'm gonna keep eye on X just in case anything transfer portal ish pop up or whatever. But because that's gonna be an ongoing thing. I've been watching this stuff for the last like since the portal opened. I think 3 days ago. So let's see. Let's bring up men's basketball. Kiwanis, they dropped another game to Southern Miss, but they did win against ULM. So that does have the Cajuns, and they did lose to Southern Miss twice so far. So they're gonna have to figure it out. They did lose to South Alabama as well. Before that, the Cajuns, they're close. Like I will say this, they are close. Like if they could just figure out how to finish these games, they would be like in a whole different team. Like they won against Norfolk State, they won against ULM. They get to play ULM again at home on Thursday. I do plan on attending this game. Um, I got season tickets, so I mean, like, I was excited when Kiwanis got there. So, uh, they got ULM, then they got Troy on Saturday. So I'll plan on going to both those games there. Then they go on. They got a 4 game road stretch right after that. I will pull this up, Jalen, so you can see here what I am looking at, and everybody else on Fishbowl Nation can actually see this as well here. I use this site called Warren Nolan. So if you want to look at live RPI updates and stuff, it's a good guide, honestly. If you're looking at trying to figure out where the net rankings are going to be or where they could possibly be at the end of the week, because the NCAA updates net rankings on Sunday, which start the week, whatever, and then they correspond here. Now the live RPI thing, I would like to see. This is what I'm talking about right here. This number here, that 342. If you're on Facebook, you'll have to watch this on YouTube or Instagram. Get the full um the full deal here. So yeah, it's a nice little site here. There's the Cajuns. Now, things of note, if you do go to the site, they don't track non-division one teams, which is kind of crazy. I think the Cajuns, let's see, I think they have a non-division one. No, I think LSU have played some. So they'll say at the top like non-division one. I think the women did play like Dillard. They didn't count Dillard as a win, even though like on
Okay.
the official website would count them as a win. Now that will throw the records off a little bit here. And this is where I do what I call it's the predictor. The predictor is always a good it does throw some crazy thing, but as it gets more data and it becomes a little bit more accurate for sure here. It did have them winning against ULM. And I think it uses the net rankings and the RPI that you see there in the middle of your screen right here.
A lot
You
of
see
times, though, it is very accurate.
from like not at the beginning of the season. We got to if it's got nothing
Yeah.
in there, it'll spew out some craziness like
Yeah. Not the beginning of the season.
we know the game time, so it didn't get updated with the game time and stuff. But so like ULM's at 7:30. I remember that one. Or 6:30 or 7:30. I think it's 7:30. I'll have to go recheck. But anyway,
Just seven
uh,
thirty.
yeah, I figured it would be. But like net ranking of 353, Cajuns beat them once already before on the road. So I think if I'm predicting this game here, and I hope I got this right, I do think the Cajuns will beat ULM again. I think they could sweep them here. They just got to finish these games because they had like the South Al game. When you look at it, they you see a 1 point game there the first half here, and like toward the end they were ahead there. South Alabama
They sure were.
sprang they sprang a trap on them. The Cage wasn't prepared. I think one of the players called a timeout with like 2.5 minutes left, and that was their last timeout. Which and then they sprang the trap on the Cajuns, and that ended up messing up their down the road comeback because it was back and forth that whole entire game. As you can see the stats here, Cajun shot 35% from the floor, and you can't have that there. 43-point attempts. They hit 13 of them. The biggest problem with the Raging Cajun men's basketball team is, and I will say this again, and I've said this a lot this year, they have no inside presence at all. They don't dump the ball down there that much. They don't drive it into the lane and stuff. And I mean, the fouls wasn't too bad against South Alabama. They had only 11 personal fouls, so they worked out better against Southern Miss. Well, they reverted back to their old ways. It's a bad habit here. See, there's 20. I've always said that you need to have 14 or less personal fouls in a game to be your gold standard. That's what you want because you don't want to give up too many free throw opportunities. And when you get those opportunities, you want to make the most of them here. So, looking at that there, you see the Southern Miss game. They shot 75% from the free throw line, which was pretty good, but they didn't get many opportunities. Look how many opportunities South Alabama got from the free throw line. They had 20 free throw attempts, made 17 of them. Cajuns only had 7 attempts. They're not good at drawing fouls because they're not getting the ball down low to possibly contest these shots and get these fouls like other teams are. So, but this is Kiwanis' first year. He had to really almost redo this roster, honestly, to get it to where it needed to be here. So, it's just kind of rough on him right now. He's just trying to figure out how to do this season going up here. As you look at the numbers from the last two games there, um, yeah, you see, you got South Alabama, Louisiana, 44% from the floor. You got to get more guys down low to be able to generate. They shot 57 shots and only made 20. That's not a winning recipe at all for your basketball team here. They did shoot a little bit better from the floor against Southern Miss, but likewise at the end of the game, Southern Miss didn't shoot that many, but the fouls, you see the 30 to 16 and free throw attempts. That will hurt you every single time because you're not getting to the line. So that's the two big things here. So let's look at the predictor, Jalen.
Hmm.
But before we look at these results here, what you think? How you think the Cajuns are going to do? You think they'll beat UOM and they'll beat Troy coming up?
Yeah, I think they'll beat ULM. Coming up against Troy, that's a true test because they haven't played Troy yet this season. Oh man, that's gonna be a tough
I
one.
think I think they'll split it. I think they'll beat UOM and lose to Troy. I just
Yeah,
don't. I
yeah,
don't see them getting down low enough to really generate enough fouls to help them out with the foul line situation there. That's where they need Evans. That's where they need somebody like Evans to step up down low to really get because he's like their best big man down low. I think at this point here.
yeah.
Um,
And then it would spread the floor because you got that big man. He getting the ball. They gonna might try to double team him because they can't guard him one on one. That'll leave people open. Shooters shoot. That'll leave all Oliveira open for a shot. Finister, he'll be able to get some buckets. I mean, it would just open up the offense. I mean, but even without having that signature big man, I mean, the Cajuns should have beat South Alabama. They had the lead. It's just like you said, that trap got to them, couple turnovers, and South Al basically stole that game. And then you got the game against Southern Miss. I feel like that game was closer too. I don't know they lost by 7, but that's a game. That's a winnable game. So they're getting there against Sunbelt competition.
yes, they are.
They're right there. So I think they'll split it also, beat ULM, lose to Troy, but they need to keep their heads up. I mean, it hasn't been a great season, but hey, anything is possible. You still got a tournament to play. And when it comes to these games, I mean, it's definitely not going to get like any easier Once you get past ULM, you got Troy. Texas State is not too bad. South Al again, who they can beat. App State. I mean, the next team that they played that's not an above 500 record is Old Dominion, and that's not even until the 24th. So they got a couple weeks left of teams that they have to go against.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's just tough right now. I mean, it really is. It, they had two crucial turnovers with that minute 4 that ended up making them lose the game here. So you have to be able to turn it around at some point here. Like, when are we going to be able to turn it around? And basketball is one of the weird sports that you can just get hot at the right time and start ending up winning a bunch of games. That's just kind of where we're at right now. Looking at this here, you got ULM, Troy, at Tech State, at South Alabama. They'll get another shot at South Alabama for sure. Then you got their first games against App State, Old Dominion, and Georgia State here. Like I've said this preseason, Sun Belt's not a good basketball conference. It never was. It hasn't been for a long period of time since we've been doing this here. It's a very weak conference in basketball terms. Baseball is one of the best conferences in college. Sun Belt baseball is on another level. Um, so I think they'll split it 1-1 here. I do know that the Cajuns did have an injury. I did see. I'm trying to see injuries here. Uh, I don't think it was Finister. Somebody got hurt. Jalen, you remember who that was?
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Can't think of. I got his face, but I can't think of his name. Like I said before, guys, I'm terrible with names. Um, Let me see here. I'm trying to remember what uh what his name was. It'll come to me whenever I figure it out. We'll just get to it here because we don't do this like we basically don't do this like thing here too much. You got some. I know that he had something on his knee. He hurt his knee, so that's kind of the whole thing here. So
I'm trying to remember who it is myself.
there was somebody that I'm trying to. I can't. Like I said, man, it's gonna come to me, and I'm thinking so hard about that. I want to try to figure out who it is.
Wait, is it
I mean,
Karis? No, it wasn't Karis, was it?
I don't think it was Karis. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out at some point. Gonna figure it out. Well, let's talk about the women real quick, and I'll get back to it. So, 56-81, South Howell ended up beating the Cajuns here. Like, it's been one thing I've been with the women here. They just keep losing games. They got that one win on the year, but like they just haven't been able to do it so far here. So that is a thing to see here.
No, it definitely is, and I know it's been a frustrating season. And I want to say two of their girls I was reading, they are dealing with injuries themselves. So I mean, you're one win on the year against Dillard. You're playing some girls that are getting injured. It's just not been a great year for women's basketball team.
Yeah, it really hasn't been. Let's see here. I'm trying to see, but yeah, like they're I would say they're dealing with injuries, but like that's not even the like cusp of it really too much because the Cajuns men basketball team don't have that mean like a widespread injury thing like you had going on with football too much to say the least here. So that's what you got to deal with here. So that's kind of like the problem that I see so far with the Cajuns and stuff here. So let me see here. I'll pull up the women real quick here so we can kind of look at their future schedule. Oh wait. Before I gotta get back to the men. Let me go back. Let's do this live here. So let's see. Let's do the predictor. Because I know I kind of skipped over the predictor. So let's see what the predictor says. Here's predicted results. Got the Cajuns with 6 wins. Sun Belt 4 out of 14. It's getting a little bit more probably realistic to say the least here. It's got them winning, and it's got them dropping four straight out. I mean, five straight basically with the Troy, like the 1-1. Then you got Texas State, South Alabama, all losses. App State, Old Dominion losses as well. But I think it's running a lot of this stuff is running off the RPI. I think because let me see, it's got like Texas State a loss, but it's got a win against Coastal. So maybe they're thinking like their last win of the year is gonna be on February 12th. Arkansas State looks like they're kind of like the team right now in Troy, or the teams in the Sun Belt West. I mean Sun Belt Conference. I mean not West. The Sea Cajuns are RPI 313, strength of schedule 186. Ain't looking too strong there, but uh, net ranking. I wonder what it's got for the net. It doesn't. It doesn't list the net. I don't think it does. Nope, it does not list the net at all. It just kind of gives like a here's what we think is going to happen here. I think it bases a lot on RPI. Is what it looks like. I've always kind of wondered what like formula it uses. It looks like it bases a lot of the RPI. So yeah, you see like net's going to pop up. Yeah, 338. So yeah, that's you know it's just the way it is here. They do got some good candidates coming back in, recruits coming in for the Cajuns, so that should be pretty good. Jalen, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to get great talent, especially in-state talent at that. Uh, you have to see what the future is. I mean, and who knows what's really going to happen with this program.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing here. So uh, we'll just have to see what's going on here as we continue live here on the Fishbowl Sports here. Looking ahead here for the women, let me pull up the women real quick, guys. Give me a second here. I'm working a lot here. Um, I do need to. I got something else I need to do here. Gotta have ads, guys. You gotta have ads to pay for your stuff. With that being said, we do have a store. In case you haven't noticed, we do have merchandise and stuff here. You see that little QR code right there on your screen. I didn't want to show that.
Can't miss it. It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there on your screen. The Fishbowl Sports. I wonder if I could put this left aligned. Let's move that over there. I don't want to. Y'all want to hide the chat overlay, or I'll just put it right. I'll probably. Yeah, I don't want to cover up anybody's comments or anything, so I'll just leave that up right there. If you want to support the Fishbowl, that's the best way to do it. Go buy some stuff from our store. We have a deal with Walmart. We get commission through Walmart and stuff. We help sell their merchandise. They got all kind of stuff. If you purchase through Walmart, you help support Fishbowl Sports. Let me pull this back up here real quick here. Um, we're back on the screen here. Let's see if it'll pull back up. Yeah, everybody kind of getting back up in here now. I'm trying to see. Not CFP picks. Where did that come from?
I
Where did you come in from?
was about to say what team is in it.
You know what? I'll just put the welcome to Raging Fishbowl. I don't really have much. I was looking at the hot sauce. I haven't done my hot sauce in a minute. I'm not upset about anything too much lately, so I'm on a good level right now. I'm just mostly sad about how our basketball seasons are going, but I will persevere and I will get through it. But right now, it's kind of hurting me a good bit right now. But look, that's just the way it is right now. Yeah, that's just the way it is, guys. I mean, you just do this stuff for a while, you're kind of wondering what's going on here. So anyway, let's talk about the women here. Where's the women's basketball? Yeah, there it is. So they're at 340, not looking good. It's saying 0 and 12. You see, that's what I'm talking about when I was talking about Warren Nolan earlier. 0 and
Hmm.
12, it won't give you much of winning and losing and stuff like that there. So when you go down to it, you see non-division one. I look next two games. I don't see Cajuns winning either one of them. I think they'll lose to UOM. I think they'll lose to South Alabama. And that's just I just don't see them picking up W's. Uh, no, not South Alabama. Well, they already Wait, yeah, lose to
No,
ULM and Texas State. I'm stuck on the
yeah,
men.
yeah. They already
I'm
lost to
sorry,
South
yeah,
Alabama. That was the previous game.
yeah, ULM and Texas State. Then they go take on a 2 game road. So you may not know this, but I feel obligated to share this. Women's basketball games are free. So if you want to enjoy an afternoon or an evening with your kids and your wife and you want to take the whole family out, it's just free. Just walk in there. You can basically sit anywhere you want. I've done went to a couple of those games too. Yep, free. They are free admission. You don't have to pay anything to get in there. You will have to pay for concessions, so we can't have everything free. But it's a nice little outing for your family and stuff there. So if you don't know if you didn't know that, that is my, you know, that is me just sharing the word and letting everybody else know the word about what's going on with Raging Cajun women's basketball there. So uh, I I hope they can pick up some wins and stuff and get real hot here. But look, I've said this many times before. Jalen's heard me say this many times before. If the Cajuns, let's say they like here, the Sun Belt's a one bid league. Okay, we'll say that here. It doesn't matter if they would win if they would go undefeated, if they would lose that conference tournament, they would not they would not make it if they went undefeated. Because there are look at these RPIs of these teams here from the Sun Belt. They're not great. They're way high up there. Net rankings are way high too. I mean, women's basketball is a little bit different. I don't if they went undefeated women's basketball, they got a net ranking of 96, 69, 83. So that's a thing here. You see UOM sitting there at 191 with the net ranking and stuff. So they have like the top teams of the Sun Belt are a little bit better in the women's than they are men. The men's not really great, but if I still don't think they would make it if they waited or whatever, because it was kind of like way high up there. You need to get stuff to get in that large or whatever. You have to be like in the 40s or 30s or whatever for a net ranking for you to get in there in RPI as well. So that would be very hard for anybody to do, let alone the Cajuns if they would go on that run. Like if you win the tournament, excuse me, if you would win the tournament, you would get in. Like if the men could lose every single game, or if they could win enough games to get into the seeding for the tournament, and they would go on a run and they win, that's all they need. That's all they need is win the tournament. That's it.
Yep.
It really comes. It's as simple as that. That's basically what you're looking at here. So you're hoping that the Cajuns get the inside game working, where they can get second chance points for the men and stuff. The women, they're just young this year. They just need to get some experience going. Maybe they'll get ready to transfer portal or something and try to get something going here, but it's not looking too great here um, with the Cajuns. I mean, let's see. Oh, the Pack. Okay, the Pack Hub replied to us on there with the Charles Robertson thing. I guess shout out to them for letting us know. Big moves, fishful name. Big moves on the horizon. Charles entering the portal means he got his options wide open. Can't wait to see where he lands. Let's hope for a squad that appreciates those skills. Keep us posted. We sure will. We'll keep
Definitely
everybody posted.
will.
We definitely will see what's going on about what's going on there. Oh, I almost actually exit out the Facebook Live. Sorry if you're on Facebook.
And for those that don't know too, they could return to the Cajuns still.
Yeah, that is a thing. Just because you entered the portal doesn't mean you're gone officially.
Yeah.
Like officially speaking, because I have to work both ends of it. Mostly, I do a lot of the Raging Cajun U side of things here. I do have Bear and Juicy handling the LSU side of it because that's their kind of thing. But man, I remember Bear was texting me about all they had some, I forget what LSU player it was, but he announced that he was going to the portal. Then 2 hours later, backtracking, and Bear's on the phone texting me, dude, make up your mind. Because like it's just like the quick change. Like, come on, make up your mind. Like, you want to be here, you don't want to be here. the check cleared, right? That's what tells me. That's what I told him. I guess the check cleared. So yeah, that's just the way it goes here. So look, that's the whole thing here. So if you want to stay up to date with everything we got going on here, you can follow us on our social media channels. Let me see. Let me pull up our. We have all kind of stuff going. We have a Facebook page. You know, Fishbowl Sports on X as well. It's at Fishbowl Nation. That's our tagline. At Fishbowl Nation on TikTok and at Fishbowl Nation on YouTube. It will pull you up almost everywhere except Facebook. Facebook's the only place that doesn't have Fishbowl Nation. I really would love to name it Fishbowl Nation, but people wouldn't make sense about what's going on there. So I mean, the name's Fishbowl Sports, but yeah. Uh, so yeah, like I did a whole like people had asked me about the name thing before, and I did a whole episode talking about the name and the origination. I don't have time to talk about that today. So yeah, like the beginnings of it, how it worked. I might do a little documentary about it maybe if I feel like doing so. But yeah, that's kind of the thing here. But yeah, I think that's about it for this episode here, guys. We're almost going up on an hour here. So Jalen, you want to say anything before we get off the air here?
Hey, I just want to say, Fishbowl, Raging Fishbowl, keep tuning in to the basketball teams. Like Chief said, the women's games are free. Keep tuning into the men's games. They're gonna get some more wins, especially the men's team before the year is over with. And keep staying tuned because the transfer portal is still open. So be on the lookout for what these football players are gonna do.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. So I'm thinking that yeah, I mean, like this thing could turn around. Like we talk, like I know fans jump the gun a lot because I have a classic example, and I have a bunch of examples, but one classic example was the beginning of this year. I remember Jalen when we did our preseason football picks. You and a lot of other people. Look, I was a little bit high on the Cajuns too, but like with football, I said 8-4. You said 10-2.
I
And
did.
yeah, and I mean, like I even 2024 I undersold the Cajuns because I was like they got a lot of experience, but Dez hasn't quite did a 10-win season. This was back pre-recorded, basically from was it 2020? Yeah, it was 2024. Yeah, when I said that, that was in like July of 2024. It's revisit that stuff, and there's other things like I completely missed the softball team last year. That was one of my misses. I thought they were going to go to like you know glass, just kind of build it up here. So I'm hoping that the baseball and softball teams work out a lot better this year. I know Chase Morgan looks like he's dealing with a significant injury entering the spring, so we're gonna have to kind of look at
Just
that there.
yeah, but I say monitor that.
Yeah, that's not a good sign if your ace is like out. So yeah, it's gonna be a interesting year, but like I will say this: nobody knows until we start playing the games. We could say that like yeah, like it's over, but we don't know. That's why we play the games. Thank you for tuning in here to this episode here of Fishbowl Sports. Hope you have a great and wonderful day, and I'll see y'all here next time here on Fishbowl Sports. Jay, you want to say ooh, Happy New Year because this is the first
You are
episode of
so
Fishbowl
right.
Sports. Yeah, Happy
You're
New
so
Year
right.
to all y'all.
Happy New
Knew I
Year.
was forgetting something, um, but yeah, I think that's it. So see y'all later. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.